Pass.
Islam. John. In English geography, the towns of Torquay, Tiverton and Tavistock are all in which county?
Devon.
Correct. Jen.
Bank.
In golf, what W is the name of a club with low-angled face that is designed for short-range elevated shots or for playing out of bunkers?
Wedge.
Correct. Simon, in the media, the daily newspaper called the Western Mail was first published in 1869 in which country of the UK?
Wales.
Correct. Sue.
Bank.
In finance, the central banking system of the USA, established in 1913 and responsible for monetary policy, is known as the Federal what?
Reserve.
Correct. Karen. In show business in 2011, which Canadian actor was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, placed next to one honouring his son Kiefer?
Donald. O'Keefe.
Donald Sutherland. Time's up and you won £70. Who's sleep talking? Who couldn't get a date in jail? Time to vote on the weakest link.
With no correct answers, Karen is the weakest link. Statistically, Sue is the strongest link. But will the votes pick up on the facts?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Karen.
Karen.
Simon.
Karen.
Karen.
Sue, why Karen?
Because she got a couple of questions wrong and she was a little bit hesitant.
Jen, why Karen?
It wasn't a great round for any of us, but I felt that Karen did worse than
Actually,
the rest.
some were okay. Wasn't a good round for you.
It was all right for me. I was quite happy.
Really, getting one question right?
I only got one wrong, though.
Karen didn't answer any questions correctly. Karen, you're the weakest link. Bye.
I think the way that I performed today, I was very lucky to get through to round 5. So I'm delighted I didn't go off in the first round and very, very pleased. But when you know you've got to walk, you've got to walk.
Round 6 and you're up to £2,530. Another 10 seconds coming off the time. We'll start the strongest link from the last round. That's Sue. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Sue, in European history, the Spanish Civil War was won by which side? The Republicans or the Nationalists?
Republicans.
The Nationalists. John. In expressions, which French phrase, often used in English, means that's life?
C'est la vie.
Correct. Jen.
Bank.
In Norse mythology, the horse called Sleipnir, that belonged to Odin, had how many legs?
6.
8. Simon, in pop music, what C follows King in the title of an Elvis Presley song and Kid in the name of a singer whose backing band is called the Coconuts?
Creole.
Correct. Sue. In the USA, Thanksgiving is always celebrated on which day of the week?
Thursday.
Correct. John. In cosmetics, the makeup product that is used to hide small blemishes, such as spots, has what name? Highlighter or concealer?
Concealer.
Correct. Jen.
Bank.
In cinema, the 2003 horror film, whose title characters first appeared in A Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, is called Freddy vs. whom?
Jason.
Correct. Simon. In law, what is the term for the theft or misappropriation of money by a person who's been entrusted with its care?
Embezzlement.
Correct. Sue.
Bank.
In geography, the Peloponnese is a peninsula that is part of which European country?
Pass.
Greece. John. In classical music, Albert Herring and Billy Budd are the titles of operas by which 20th century British composer?
Britain.
I'll accept. Sir Benjamin Britten. Jen. In used car advertisements, the abbreviation FSH stands for full service what?
Handled.
History. Simon, in food, the kernel of a pecan nut most resembles that of which other nut, a cashew or a walnut?
A cashew.
A walnut. Sue, in a phrase based on a military command, people who are sacked are often said to be given their marching what?
Orders.
Correct. John. In ornithology, what Time's up, you won £190. But does Jen give you the blues? Has Simon made a bad impression? Time to vote off the weakest link.
As the only player to get all their answers right, John is the strongest link. Statistically, Jen is the weakest link, but will the votes reflect the statistics?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Jen.
Simon.
Jen.
Simon.
We have another tie team. Jen and Simon. 2 votes each. Simon, why Jen?
Well, we didn't have a very good round, all of us, but I think Jen got 2 questions wrong.
Jen, why Simon?
Well, I think he had a bit of a bad round, and to be honest, his wriggling's putting me off a bit, so...
Did you think he was the worst player?
No, I think I was, but he was next to me, I think.
When the vote's tied, the strongest link has to cast the deciding vote, and the strongest link is John. Why have you voted for Jen?
Simply that I thought she was the weakest link on that occasion. She answered a few questions wrong.
You've got a choice now. You can stick with Jen or move to Simon.
I'll stick with Jen.
She was the worst player. Jen, you are the weakest link. Bye.
I think the team could have done a bit better to have kept me on, as I'm younger than the remaining contestants, so any questions about pop culture or recent events I think I could have gotten.
Round 7. You have £2,720. Another 10 seconds off the time. We'll start the strongest link from the last round. That's John. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. John, in the Second World War, the deputy leader of the Nazi Party, who was held at the Tower of London for 4 days in May 1941, was Rudolf who?
Hess.
Correct. Simon, in English landmarks, which city in the West Midlands has a clock tower known locally as Big Brum?
Birmingham.
Correct. Sue. In the EU, the unit of account used to convert agricultural prices and subsidies into sterling is known as the what? Blue penny or green pound?
Green pound.
Correct. John.
Bank.
In pop music, before adopting the name Led Zeppelin, the rock group formed by Robert Plant and Jimmy Page in 1968 was called the New what?
Age.
Yardbirds. Simon. In definitions, what is the 4-letter term for both a long upright pole that carries sails on a ship and a metal framework for radio and TV aerials?
A mast.
Correct. Sue.
Bank.
In European geography, what sea is the English name of the large lake that lies between Germany, Austria and Switzerland?
Baltic Sea.
Constance. John. In geometry, which word meaning sharp or pointed is the name of a type of angle?
Acute.
Correct. Simon. In film, the actor born in 1980 who starred as Ian Curtis in the 2007 biopic Control and as Pinky in the 2010 remake of Brighton Rock is Sam who?
West.
Riley. Sue. In wildlife, changing the only vowel in the word skink gives the name of which mammal known for its use of a strong odour for defence?
Skunk.
Correct. John.
Bank.
In technology, a common alternative name for binoculars that are designed to be used outdoors is field what?
Glasses.
Correct. Simon. In religious history, which American city in Utah was founded in 1847 by a group of pioneers led by a churchman called Brigham Young?
Salt Lake City.
Correct. Sue.
Bank.
Time's up. Your bank was in time and you won £190. In round 8, you get the chance to treble what you bank. Time to vote off the weakest link.
For the second round in a row, John is the strongest link. The statistics show that Sue is the weakest link. But who will survive the final vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Sue.
Simon.
Simon.
Sir John, who's on the parish council, why have you voted for Simon when he wasn't the worst player?
I thought we all had at least one question
don't tell
wrong.
lies! surprised, John?
No, I'm not. No, he's the only person I haven't voted for previously.
No, that wasn't the question.
He had.
Oh! I've been at this a long time,
wrong.
so you may as well stop digging. You may as well tell the truth now.
It wasn't tactical, Anne, I promise you.
You don't think anyone believes you, do you?
They might not, but I know.
Sue, why Simon?
Well, he did get a question wrong.
Simon, you're the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm glad I got a chat with Anne, because it was nice to have one, and we had some banter, and I think I got her to smile. So it was nerve-wracking, but at least there's something to remember it by.
Round 8. You have £2,910. In this round, 90 seconds, but whatever you win will be trebled. We'll start the strongest link from the last round. That's John. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. John, in pop music, Nicky Byrne, Brian McFadden and Cian Egan were all members of the original lineup of which Irish boy band?
Boyzone.
Westlife. Sue. In sports clothes, an athletic support worn by men is frequently known as a jock what?
Strap.
Correct, John. In entertainment, which three-letter palindrome is a common term for a joke or humorous story, especially one told by a professional comedian?
Gag.
Correct, Sue.
Bank.
In the UK, what G is the name of the village in the Lake District where William and Dorothy Wordsworth once lived in Dove Cottage?
Pass.
Grasmere, John. In food, the dish consisting of strips of beef cooked with onions, mushrooms and soured cream was named after the Russian diplomat Count who?
Pass.
Stroganoff. Sue. In the pen and paper game Battleships, to sink the aircraft carrier, which is the largest target on the grid, a player needs how many successful hits?
5.
Correct, John. In achievements, the British father and son who set several land and water speed records in the 20th century were Malcolm and Donald who?
Campbell.
Correct, Sue.
Bank.
In music, what C is the name for a composition in which a melody is begun by one voice or instrument and then repeated by others so that they overlap?
Choral.
Canon. John. In Celebrity Spouses, the actress who was married to both Mickey Rooney and Frank Sinatra was Ava who?
Gardner.
Correct, Sue.
Bank.
The quotation, an army march. Time's up. You won £120, which we will treble. It gives you prize money today of £3,270. There can only be one winner. Now up to 5 questions each. If there's a tie, we'll go for sudden death. So, Sue and John, for £3,270, let's play the weakest link. John, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
I'll go first, please, Anne.
John, in music, Jason Cheetham, who rose to fame as the lead singer of Jamiroquai, is better known by what name that sounds like 2 consecutive letters of the alphabet?
JK.
That is the correct answer. Sue. In literature, the phrase "a pound of flesh," meaning something that is a legal right but an unreasonable demand, comes from which Shakespeare play?
Hamlet.
Correct answer is The Merchant of Venice. John, in 2007, Vishy Anand became the first Indian to be declared the undisputed world champion in which game?
Badminton.
The correct answer is chess. Sue, in cinema in 2010, a doll called Big Baby, a bear known as Lotso, and a hedgehog named Mr. Pricklepants were new characters introduced in the 3rd film in which series?
Pass.
Correct answer is Toy Story. John, in the